Hi guys, welcome to my video. In this video we are going to be talking about Lally's game, the actual story from Lally's game. I've made so many notes on this, so let's get into it. I will say beforehand that personally I found this story, there was quite a lot of filler in the story, so there was quite a lot of build up to the good bit, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'd say, but the good bit is good, and the payoff, I'd say it's about a medium. Like I was a bit like, oh my god, but it's okay. Like if you want to go read it. But in this episode, I'm just gonna try and shorten it down for you guys, and you can read it if you want to read it, and if you don't, no worries. Right, I'm gonna set the scene, and the lady of the story is called Selena, and she is riding in the car next to a man called Cade, and Cade is her fiance. So they're riding in a car, an SUV, and there's a warm breeze coming through the window, and they're driving to their new house because they've bought a house. A little bit of backstory about Selena. Selena is tall, model-like. She's modelled before, with long red hair, very nice cheekbones and some freckles. Cade is very conventionally handsome, so like tall, dark and handsome with dark hair, chiseled face, beefcake. They're going to their new house because they've bought a house together. Selena made her money. She said she matched Cade's down payment, so they're 50-50 in this house. Her payment came from like self-empowerment blog that she does and vintage blog. She's into vintage stuff. So that's how she made her money for half of the house. And Cade's was an inheritance from his aunt. And that's how they're getting this house. This house is like a farmhouse, and they're moving closer to Cade's mum. Cade's mum had him when she was like an older mum, and she's called Janice. Or Janice, but I'm English, so I'm gonna say Janice. Yeah, to look after, and she's like, oh, it's so sweet that he wants to look after his mum. Plus, Cade has a new job with computer science at a new company. Can you guess the company? A little description about the town where the company is based. The town had been small, but now grown since the subdivisions had been built, bringing more people in. Malls showed up outside the town's original core. I wonder what malls they could be. Could they be a pizza place? We shall see. They are fiancés, so they're getting married in 2 weeks, and they've got this brand new house. Selena's so excited. She's got the man of her dreams. She's got the house. He's got a good job. She's gonna have more time to do her blogging and self-help thing at the house and renovate it, because it's a bit of a fixer-upper. They're gonna have to renovate it. But Selena doesn't mind. She loves a challenge. So they make a joke about arriving a little bit before the movers. Basically, Cade and Selena haven't lived together yet. They've lived apart. So basically they've brought all their stuff from 2 different places, and they're now going to put it in this one house. And as they're moving stuff in, one of the movers brings in an old trunk that looks disgusting and gross. And Selena doesn't like this trunk. The description of this trunk is a dirty and scarred old trunk with aged leather straps, tarnished and dented brass claps, lock and edging. And this is, quote, Selena wrinkled her nose at the musty odour. So it stank as well. Like, it was a nasty old trunk. Now, saying this trunk, I literally thought of the trunk. I was like, is this the trunk? Is this the trunk? What's inside this trunk? Are we gonna know what's inside the trunk? But whether it is or not, I don't know, because it doesn't actually conclude anything. So use your imagination on that. So Selena goes up to Cade and is like, Cade, what is this? I thought we were only bringing like the best stuff like with us. Like, what is that? That is not best stuff. He's like really defensive. He's like, oh no, I need the trunk. That's my trunk. That's mine. Like, I want it, so I'm keeping it. I'll just put it away. Like, you won't have to see it. I'll keep it, and you will never see this trunk again. Like, just let me have it. Which is quite weird, because Selena and Cade have never had that sort of dynamic in the relationship, because Cade's quite an easygoing person, and Selena is a bit taken aback by this. She's like, oh, it's a bit weird. Like, have I made the right decision? Moving in and marrying this man? And she shrugs it off like, yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. And it says that he quoted, oh, I thought you like antiques, to be, oh yeah, I thought you liked antiques. I thought you liked it. Can we keep it? Like, jokingly. But there's some shady stuff going on there. Cade's old-fashioned, so what they're going to do is Selena's going to move in with Janice until they're married. Yeah, Janice is Cade's mum. So Selena doesn't mind too much. The description of Janice is she was short, wrinkly, homely, like a homely woman with a short bob. And it goes into saying that Cade's family used to be cattle ranchers and they sold off land. So it's like an old farmhouse, like really rustic. So basically, I imagine Janice to be sort of like a linoleum mum, if that makes sense. So like an 80s apron linoleum mum who loves to bake and like gives you food and feeds you up, you know, one of those mums. Selena and Cade went there for tea to meet Janice, to say hello. Basically, a little backstory on Cade's life, that his dad unfortunately died of a heart attack when Cade was young. Cade goes, oh, I'm going to leave you girls to it now because I need a jog. I need to go buff up my muscles. While staying with Janice, Selena got really jittery because Janice goes off to do her groups, you know, her old lady groups, where she meets other old ladies and chats about old lady stuff. She got really jittery, so she decided to look in Cade's old room, and it hasn't been touched since he was a child. So she goes in there and she kind of has a poke around, being like, oh, Cade's not told me much from when he was little, so let's go hunting for some information. And she finds the stack of old albums, like photo albums, in his wardrobe. So she's like, oh, look at some cute little pictures of Cade and that will make me happy and all that jazz. She looked at the photos of Cade as a kid and she says, oh, he was a cute kid. He had like gappy teeth. You know, he was like a really cute kid. And she's like, oh, my Cade. She then found photos of little Cade in a black-lit place. And then a photo of Freddy Fazbear. Freddy Fazbear! She'd never been, but she knew of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. I mean, come on, who hasn't heard of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria? The blacklit place was in Freddy's Pizzaplex, so in a mega Pizzaplex. And she was looking through and she was like, that's a bit weird. And then Janice came in, and startled Selena. Selena was like, pulled the books down, like, but she wanted to look at photos, and Janice, you know, wanted to look at photos as well. So she came and sat on Cade's bed and had a look at photos with Selena. Selena asks about the photos, and Janice is like, oh, I know where that is. That's a game area called Lally's Game. Lally's Game. And Cade was obsessed with it. Obsessed. This is a quote of description of the place. It was a dark arena, glowing neon, green, purple and yellow geometric shapes. And if you don't know what geometric shape, it's like an 80 shape. I'll insert it here if you don't know. Ping. Selena didn't have a very good feeling about these photos, like in her gut. You know when you get that gut feeling and you're like, don't have a good feeling about this. She got all squirmy. Janice then says, "That's Lally. Yeah, that's Lally." And pointed to an unfriendly looking ghost, was the description. An unfriendly looking ghost. Selena knew it was like a little robot. So it's a ghostly looking little robot. And this is a quote. "Lally was there to be a playmate for the kids who didn't have friends to play with. And Cade's friends didn't like the game as much as Cade did because he was obsessed with the game." Selena was disturbed by the photos of Cade and Lally together. She like felt a little bit sick and a little bit bleh. Because Cade looked at Lally possessively. 1,000-yard stare, like you are mine, like you are mine. Janice said one day somebody stole Lally from Lally's game and Cade was really upset. And Selena was about to ask like why Cade was upset and why Lally was stolen, but Janice quickly closed that question down and was like, "Oh, do you want to bake cookies and make dinner with me?" And Selena was like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll do that, that's fine." And after dinner, Cade came back from work and had dinner with them at Janice's house. And Selena wanted to ask Cade about the photos, being like, that's a bit weird, Cade. There's a quote, it said Selena felt like seeing Cade brought back the image of the photo of Lally. So seeing her husband-to-be just brought back the image of Lally. Delightful. So Selena confronts Cade about the Pizzaplex and about Lally, and he gets really agitated. So he's like, what do you want to know? And defensive. So like he's on the defense. He's like, "I don't know what you mean, mate. I don't know, Lally." He says, "I just have some bad memories from that time. Okay? Somebody got hurt. I don't like to talk about it." Which is fair enough. So Selena kind of leaves it. She's not 100% on Cade, given her that reason, but she respects his reason and lets it lie for now. And they had the wedding. They got married. Yay. It says Selena felt love for Cade, but also suspicion. So she's like, "I don't quite trust you. You know, something fishy's going on." Due to the trunk, she didn't trust him. Fair enough. I wouldn't. Would you? This is a quote. "And his fondness for unpleasant little robots." And it was bothering Selena. Of course it was. Like, it's very creepy. After the wedding, Cade went to work early. So, like, they weren't having a honeymoon. They were just, like, putting all their money back into the house, like, refurbing it. So Cade went off to work early and left Selena at home. But Selena couldn't get the trunk out of her head. She's like, oh, this trunk. And decided to go up to the attic to find it. But it wasn't there. It was gone. So Selena took it upon herself to look up the entire house to find this old smelly trunk because she did not trust Cade. So she went and found this trunk. She looked in every single room and she came to the spare room, which they hadn't decided what they were going to put in it yet. But she went in there anyway. It had a wardrobe closet. So, closet, yeah. Great in Fnaf, isn't it? So she moved the closet door and she stepped in and there was loads of boxes. And so she picked up the box and she was like, this has nothing in it. So she threw it over her shoulder and picked up another box and it was empty again. So she was like throwing all these boxes out, got to this blanket draped over something, so it was hiding something, and she found the trunk and it was locked, and she was like, screw this, I'm gonna open that trunk. So she got some screwdrivers, she got a hammer and a crowbar. The hammer and the crowbar didn't work, but she got 2 screwdrivers and did the prong opening on the lock. She got it unlocked. She unlocked it. But before she could open it, she heard Cade come home for lunch. Like, he just randomly came home. So she, being angry, rightfully so, stormed downstairs and confronted Cade, and she was like, why do you still have this box? I found your box. Like, what is it doing in the house? It wasn't in the attic like you said it was. Cade's face dropped. Like, completely dropped. And he asked Selena if she'd opened it. And he said that several times. Like, did you open it? Selena, did you open the box? Did you open the trunk? Did you open it? And before she could say yeah, he rushed past her upstairs to check the box. And he lifted the lid and it was empty. And Cade said, oh no. Like, really sad, like, oh no. Selena felt bad because she'd violated Cade's privacy, obviously, because there was nothing in there. She was being so silly with getting a screwdriver and opening his personal trunk. Yes, it was old and smelly, but it had nothing in it. So she felt quite bad. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to. They had, like, lunch and dinner. Like, nothing had happened, but there was, like, sort of, like, tension in the room. You could tell something was off. Selena could smell, like, this weird odour, and she put it down to just, like, Cade. Like, Cade smelt funny. And I was like, oh no, he's not a meat puppet, is he? Cade's not a meat puppet. But yeah, she said she could smell fear on Cade. So whatever it was, whether he was a meat puppet or whether he was really, really worried about something getting out, who knows. But Selena knew that Cade was pretending to be okay because he wasn't okay. He started fake falling asleep, and Selena knew he wasn't falling asleep. And he would get up in the night periodically to search the house. And I mean like a quiet sweep of the entire house. And Selena could hear this all the time. And it was, Cade was losing sleep, Selena was losing sleep. This went on for like a week of no sleep for these people because Cade's nighttime antics. So Selena finally confronted Cade and was like, why are you doing this? Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? So Cade was just so exhausted. Selena was so exhausted. Cade was just like, I just have to tell her the truth now. The truth. The truth was, Lally wasn't stolen, Cade said. There was a refurbishment and the scaffolding, the construction scaffolding, fell in Lally's game and broke. For weeks, Lally was stalking Cade, playing a weird game of hide and seek. Lally wasn't stolen. Lally followed Cade home. Apparently. Cade got so scared that he lured Lally into the trunk playing hide and seek because he knew that Lally couldn't resist playing hide and seek in this old trunk. And he shut the lid and he did the straps and locked it, and that was it. And he'd never opened it before. Selena was like, oh, but have you opened it? Have you looked inside? He's like, no, I've never opened it. I don't want to open it. Why would I open it? So Selena listened. She was sceptical, but she deduced that Cade had childhood trauma, being like, you're traumatised because your favourite childhood game got broken. So you started seeing him everywhere, and then you got really freaked out by it. So you locked it in a trunk. Life resumed fairly normally after that. It was a bit weird, a bit strange, but like they got most of the stuff out of their chests, you know. They talked about it. in a healthy manner. They were having such a good time with Cade's friends, because Cade made new friends at his new job. So they had partners, so Selena decided to throw a barbecue for them to like have some fun, do some charades and have a good time. And one of the guests had run out of soda, so Selena went, I'll go get you some soda from the garage. So she toddled off to the garage. The bulb wasn't working properly. It was like a lower wattage than what it should have been, so it was quite dim in there. So she went in and opened their fridge that they have in the garage and grabbed the sodas. Out the corner of her eye, she saw Lally from Lally's game. And she was like, oh God. So she like closed it quickly and looked quickly, and he was still there. He was still there. So she quickly grabbed these sodas, ran to the guests, put the sodas there, being like, oh, there you go, there's soda, and then ran to Cade. Was like, hi, sorry, I need to borrow him for a second. Come on, Cade, quickly. Well, Selena started jogging and pulling Cade to the garage, being like, Cade, I saw Lally. And Cade was like, what? I thought you said Lally was not real. And Selena was like, oh, you don't believe me? Do you not believe me, Cade? Cade went, no, I don't not believe you. But like, he's gone, he's not there. And Selena looked, because Selena was like, oh, there's Lally, I'm not looking. And Lally was gone. There was no Lally in the garage. So Selena was like, I'm not imagining this. I saw Lally. Selena was thinking that she was gonna go mad. The facts were, 1, Lally was real and watching her. Creepy. And fact 2, she was losing her mind. So it's either one of those. Quite stressful. So Selena went to Cade's mum's house to kind of reset, because she felt like she was being watched like intensely. For like weeks, she felt like she was being watched. And Selena went to Cade's mum's house to ask more about Lally's game, because she couldn't cope anymore. She just needed some answers. So she went to Janice. She asked, why did Cade like it so much? I suppose Cade liked it because it was made for 2 players. Just him and Lally. Only 2 players. And she then goes on to say, one boy in Cade's class snuck into Lally's game one day, and Cade got angry. Irrationally angry. So, not your normal like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. He got, you shouldn't have done that. The game is only for 2. The game is only for 2. Cade said over and over. So, And then Janice went on to say, it was so tragic that he died. Daniel, the child who snuck into Lally's game, died in a horrible accident. Selena asked Janice, what accident? But Janice didn't answer. She didn't want to answer that. And she was like, no. Oh, don't worry. So Selena asked her another question. Why did Cade like it, Lally's game? Was Lally programmed to play hide and seek? Cade liked it because it looked scary, Janice said. And, wait for the kicker, no, it didn't move. You had to move it yourself. You had to move Lally yourself. Oh, Selena was like, oh, no. There is something wrong. I am not going crazy. She thanked Janice and left and went to the house that they owned, Cade and Selena. While doing that, she passed Cade in his SUV. Cade was going towards his mum's and Selena was leaving, going to the house. So Selena kind of ducked down, like, oh, I hope he didn't see me. So she went to the house because she had a really bad feeling about Cade. I feel this intense fear, whether it's from Lally or Cade, but it's fear. So Selena rushed home and started packing her things. She was like, sod this, I'm out, peace out, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna grab my stuff and go. And then she heard a thud. So she was so freaked out though. She was like, oh my God, I gotta look and see what this thud was. And she picked up a rolling pin from the kitchen and was like going around being like this, like out the Shining, like with a bat. Being like, oh my God, what was that? And nothing was there. She was spooked, so she just slumped down on the sofa like, oh God, I am so stressed, like I just need to pack. And she was thinking, oh, am I screwing up my marriage? What am I doing? Like, this isn't right. And then suddenly she felt a hand go over her mouth. So she couldn't speak. There was like a human hand was over her mouth. So she was like, so she looked up over her shoulder and it was Cade. He had his hand on her mouth. Creepy Cade. Selena said that Cade looked deranged. Like, he had a deranged look in his eye. He wasn't the handsome man that he'd once been. He looked toxic and deranged. And she was scared. Hella scared. Like, Cade whispered, if you upset Lally, you'll be in the trunk next. Like a threat. Cade shushed Selena after he took his hand away from her mouth. He went and sat next to her, but scanning for Lally, like looking for Lally, like being really like cagey and paranoid and being like, where's Lally? Where's Lally? Where's Lally? Where's Lally at? So Selena's like, what the hell? I'm not in a good position here. And without thinking, she said to Cade, you killed Daniel, didn't you? The child in the horrible accident. Cade shook his head. No. It was Lally. The game is only for two. The game is only for two. And Selena tries to appeal to his like emotional side and says, that must have been really hard for you that happened. And Cade looked at her. He didn't know what she was on about. Like, what are you on about? Like, wasn't bad for me? What are you on about? And that made Selena feel sick. So Cade was just like brushing off the death of this boy in class. Selena said, Cade, if Lally's here, we need to go. Giving in to his delusions. And we need to leave, don't we? Cade looked at the door and shook his head. Without thinking, Selena ran and grabbed this brass candlestick light with a lamp on, grabbed it and bashed Cade's head, because Cade had tried to grab her and she'd gone and whacked him one in the head and he fell to the floor. And Selena quickly ran upstairs to hide. She ran and hid in the closet of their spare bedroom, underneath all the boxes, underneath all the blankets, and she was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get killed. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me like he killed that boy Daniel. She was in the closet in the spare room, like trying to hush herself, trying to be like, oh. And then a voice next to her said, hi. And she let out the biggest scream ever. And Cade heard this. In his like weakened state, he still heard Selena scream really loud. So he was like stumbling to get up, being like, oh, I've got to get up. He went to the spare room, threw open the doors, pulled the closet over, and in front of him was the trunk. And he fell to his knees. And he wanted, this is a quote, he wanted to look away from the grisly contents of the trunk. So Selena was in the trunk, I'm guessing. It doesn't initially say it, but Grizzly, trunk, Selena scream, you can kind of make your assumptions there. You know, sometimes wardrobes or closets have the upper level. As Cade was sat looking into this trunk, he heard a voice hiss, "The game is only for two." So, the game is only for two. Then it flashes forward and Cade had a new fiance and was moving in to their new house. Moving day with Cade's new fiance, Debbie. Moved into this new house and the movers are coming in. And one of the movers has a trunk, a dirty old trunk. Debbie says, "Oh, what's in the trunk, Cade?" And he says, "Just some childhood baggage." Like laughs it off like, haha, just some childhood baggage. That his ex-wife's remains. Childhood baggage. Like, this man has the audacity. Absolute audacity. And then he says, "Oh, I'll just put it in the attic. You'll never have to see it again. Don't worry." And this is the last paragraph, and I'll read it to you because it's quite spooky. Thunder rumbled as skies darkened. Even more, the attic was swathed in sombre shadows. Nothing but blackness could be seen in the vast space. Until two small pinpoints of light peeked up over the top of the old trunk. And those were Lally's endo eyes looking above the trunk. And that is Lally's game. I hope you enjoyed it. And it was a very long story. There's quite a lot of filler in it. I have condensed it in this video for you guys. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe, like and comment and hit the bell notification, ding ding, so you will never miss another one that I do. So if you like it and enjoyed it, then join me for the next one. And I hope you guys have a lovely time. Bye!